I think that what you're doing is expanding what most people would define Mother Nature as.
Oh, no, not at all. No. That's exactly how they would define it. You're defining it as weather. I'm defining it as nature.
What are we doing?
Nothing. We're starting from scratch.
Back.
We're back. This is
hi there.
Season 2, episode, I think, 19.
Something like that.
19.
Skeeter's Deli Bar.
Yeah.
I've never heard of them.
Where is it?
I believe it's in South City. They said it was on Virginia, down by Virginia and
Oh, my God.
Merrimack.
I just had a flash.
Somebody
I've
said
heard this before.
Yeah, for those who are unaware, which is all of you, we just went through this and we had a technical difficulty. So after about 2 minutes, had to start over and had basically the same conversation.
I thought I was having a stroke.
No.
You might be.
Yeah.
One is not. These are not mutually
One of those
exclusive.
deja vu strokes. It is, they say in Dutchtown, but I feel like, how could it not be near the Bevo? Isn't the windmill? Isn't that why
I don't know.
it's
I
called
feel like it's down there.
You're tilting windmill.
I will say this.
Kind of
I have not seen these sandwiches at all, but
They
I've seen
look good.
descriptions.
They smell
and I can
good.
tell you, just to tease, because I know people like a little tease, right in the middle, we're doing a toasted ravioli grilled cheese.
Oh, I
that
like
to
the
me
idea of
sounded intriguing.
Yeah.
There's one called the Shakin Bacon, which looks like it's just a ton of bacon. And then, of course, they have their Skeet Burger, which is chopped brisket and roast beef. A little
like
teaser
that.
there, but
That's
that
good.
sounds very good.
I wish somebody would open up a sandwich shop where, and you've seen these and we've talked about it, where instead of just building the sandwich on the bread, you build it separately, you chop it all up, and then put it on the bread so that you get a little bit in every bite.
I felt like Central State sandwiches. We talked, didn't they?
I think
they were
had
doing a lot
one
of
or
that.
two that did that.
I thought that was
It just makes
very
sense.
effective. I think before we can get into the sandwich talk, the first thing on the viewer's mind, they're going to want to hear about your hair. Obviously, it looks great today. You after 2 years of growth, you've had it cut.
Well, let me think.
Styled.
No regret.
It was
well,
January of 24
It
was probably
almost 2
the
years.
last time I cut my hair.
So 22 months.
something like that.
No regrets.
Of growing it or cutting it?
Either.
Oh, none cutting it.
What got you over the line finally? What was the breaking point where you just decided, you know what, I've had enough?
I think it had gotten to a length that was almost a constant nuisance and a pain and too much work.
Wait, but you're talking to two guys that don't have a lot of hair. What was the nuisance and pain? I mean, I've never had that much hair.
Well, it's just, looking at him, it did seem like the hair was slapping
No, it
against
wasn't
your
that
neck.
at all.
Okay. See?
But it looked like it.
Yeah, I know.
In a convertible sometimes. The thing is my hair is very coarse and curly, and so it was constantly tangled. It just took it. I had to put stuff in it, and it was just annoying. It was more work than I wanted to put into my hair.
Did you develop a brand new respect for women or even men that have long hair that have to deal with that?
Curly-haired ones.
Well, no.
I mean, do you look at it all differently now?
Straight hair, I think,
Yeah,
come on.
no big deal. But curly
No.
hair.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. A curly hair protocol. It was a pain. And on top of it all, I didn't even really like how it looked.
Right.
And so I was like, why am I doing this? It's a pain. I don't love it.
Did you ever like the way it looked?
There were times. There were
In other words,
stages.
did you grow it too long?
No, I think it was just maybe if
I mean, it looks so much better this way.
I think a lot
I just
of
have
people-
to tell you. But how did you settle in on this, though? Because you could have gone all the way down to your buzz cut.
Well,
Oh, God forbid. You'll never
I
do
didn't.
that, will you?
I didn't settle in on
He
this.
looks like, which
this is a
that
bit
stooge?
curly. I
yeah,
think
he
it was. I showed a picture of something that was not a lot longer, but a bit longer, and I got this, which is fine. It's fine.
Who got the honor of getting to cut you after 20 months?
Well, after I've complained, I hate to. Actually, I shouldn't say that because I'm not complaining at all. She did a great job, and she was very nice.
and the feedback, I'm
This
sure,
was
has
actually
been
the second
outstanding.
time I went to her. The first time that I made an appointment, I did not end up getting a haircut. I just had a consultation about 6 months ago.
Wow. Did
Have you ever
shave
had a
any of your hair?
consultation about a haircut?
So, you know what? It's funny you say that. I almost had, they won't listen. I almost had a very bad incident with, I saved a big bag of my hair, and all they had at the salon And I will say, I got to cut at Dominic Michaels on Ledoux, a woman named Gina who has curly hair, which is how I picked her. And she was very patient, very helpful, very nice, and it was great. So I asked for a bag to pick up my hair. They thought it was a little crazy, obviously. All they had was
till they saw his eBay account.
Was like a sandwich, like paper sandwich bag. So I put it in there. I said, hey, do you have a second one so I could put it on top? Yeah. And I did that. I put it in my back seat, sort of pushed the seat back so it sort of held it in. Yeah. I thought it was fine, but then I forgot about it.
Oh, Jesus.
And I have a convertible. And
Lord.
A couple of days later, I'm driving, and all of a sudden, the bag I see fly up and sit in my front seat. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to be covered in hair. This is about to be really a terrible situation. Yeah. Somehow, the top bag only flew off, took lift. The bottom bag that contained the hair was right in place. Not a single hair was missing, but it could have been it
was so wiry. Maybe it held it together.
It could have been
wires.
a very bad situation.
How do you like that?
If Samson had stories like this.
Probably.
Yeah,
I'm hungry.
Speaking of Samson, your younger son is named Samson.
His name's
While
Samson.
you're getting the sandwich, tell us how you settled in on that name, because I've never asked you that. I've known you 25 years.
I recall.
I don't know if there was
grab a sandwich, though.
Well, I know, but
it's been in there for a while.
No, we have a cold one.
Oh, we do? Let's have the cold one.
We're going to start with the cold one. They weren't as hot as I liked them. I don't know whether or not to blame the place or Vicky, but I'm going to give the place the benefit of the doubt and blame Vicky.
Say, and also Vicky's not in the room right now, and I think that gives us license.
Why do we have to blame anybody?
Well, he wants to know who's responsible for the sandwich being cold.
Somebody is to blame.
In the great scheme of things, who cares?
Well, here's one thing I do care about. Does anybody have any plates?
Forgot my son.
Goddamn, Vicky.
Yeah.
Can we blame her for that?
Yeah.
We love you, Vicky.
Thank you.
Okay, well, you can pull it out and start cutting.
Still at Dominic Michaels?
I didn't ask.
Oh, he used to come on.
Well, they've opened up quite a few locations.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, they've expanded.
He was a nice guy.
They have expanded.
Dominic, if you're listening, give me a call.
I think Dominic might have cut my hair once.
Okay, we got a problem here.
Oh, that should be in the oven?
Oh, swell.
We have I don't know what the deal is.
None of these are cold sandwiches. I don't know which one you would have been looking at. Vicky told me one of them was
cold, but this is a cold meatball sandwich. Ooh. Yeah, I'm going to blame the restaurant.
I think maybe she was conveying to you that it had gone cold.
No, she said one of them was a cold sandwich. Look at the menu. See if
none of these would be cold sandwiches. These are clearly hot sandwiches.
You know what? We should change the name of this whole thing from 3 lawyers eating sandwiches to 3 lawyers being baffled by simple things.
Yeah. By Vicky.
Yeah. By Vicky.
Right, I'll be right back.
That's fine. So tell us the story. How do you pick Samson as a name?
Movie.
In 1974,
I had
75,
seen a
76?
movie recently before he was born called Simple Madness, starring, what's his name? James Bond.
Roger Moore or Sean Connery?
Sean Connery. And his name in the movie was Samson Shillito. And I just heard that name, and I thought, what a great name for a kid.
But what a difficult sell. It's a hard thing. Usually the wife, she's carrying the baby. Her influence on the name tends to be a little higher than the man, unless it's like a junior situation.
Well, yeah, I think
How did you sell her on Samson?
I think that was
I think she was upset about it.
When my wife at the time had a little more respect for me.
Wait, hold on.
And she would listen.
Wait. But I thought that there was a debate about this, and she did not want to call him Samson.
To be honest with you, I'm not saying if it happened or not. I don't remember any great debate.
Is that the toasted ravioli grilled cheese?
I can't tell.
It has to be.
Remember, up till then, we had only named children after dead relatives in the traditional Jewish style. Yeah. We just ran out of dead relatives.
You did not run out of dead relatives. You just decided there was nobody else worthy.
We named one after my father, Andy.
Look at this.
And we named one after your mother's grandmother.
Now, I did say you're supposed to dip in marinara.
Well, here's the marinara.
So take a look. Here's what they did here. They took a big toasted ravioli, stuck it in the middle of a sandwich, made a grilled cheese around it, and then gave us a little marinara to dip it in. That kind of sounds intriguing.
Oh. We're going to need some napkins as well.
Talk about it intriguing. Adventures and Intrigue on South
Oh, that's pretty good.
What is Adventures in Intrigue?
Oh, these little plates they give me.
It's a
Oh, God, I sauced up the microphone, folks.
There you go.
it's a sort of a escape room, but they've built really elaborate sets
So
on South Jefferson. We ought to go there and try it out.
he has no recollection of how it went, but I have a similar story. My middle daughter. Oh, you double dipping?
Yeah.
Wow. Somebody get him a spoon or something, then we can avoid the double dip.
That's cold sauce.
So my middle daughter, her name is Carmen Jane, and we couldn't decide a middle name. We finally settle in on Jane. And speaking of naming after dead relatives, Jews do not name after the living. We only name after people
You know what the
who have passed.
superstition about that is?
There's something about the angel of death
The
will be
angel of death will be
confused.
confused,
Right.
and maybe take the child
Whatever.
instead of the older.
I'm not a
person.
superstitious person, but I had a close relationship with my grandmother, Dorothy, and oftentimes what we will do, instead of naming them the exact name, we will take just the first letter, as you're both well aware. And so, and we'll use that. So we're in the hospital, we're filling out the paperwork. It's just going to be Carmen Jane, no big deal. And we're getting ready, you know, kind of, they're like, hey, you haven't filled out the paperwork and you guys are leaving soon. And I say, Steph, I've got it. This is brilliant. I think I've come up with the most brilliant thing. We will name her Carmen Jane, but we will spell it D-J-A-N-E with a silent D like Django. And
the movie Django Unchained had just come out like the year before.
So
But
now,
there's Django Reinhardt, which was the famous guitar.
Yes, but that, he's a
whatever,
big
it's-
jazz guy.
it's
He had
phonetic.
just seen Django
I
Unchained.
I think it
listen
brought
to
it into
jazz.
the
I probably
culture.
listen to more jazz than either of you. What was the last jazz album you listened
What was the
to?
last jazz concert you went to? Because I went to one at the Casa Pamplona like 2 months ago.
That doesn't mean
kind of
anything. Do you
jazz
listen
It
to
was
it
wonderful. It was a New
regularly?
Orleans
Let's finish
jazz
this and then we'll
concert.
argue.
I listen
Anyway,
to a lot of New Orleans
so-
jazz. I like Louis Armstrong.
Hold on, let's-
I like Al Hurt. I like
let me
trumpet
finish the
jazz.
So I say we'll just spell it D-J-A-N-E. The D is silent. She starts crying. How could you make a joke of my baby's name? Blah 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 blah. Whatever. Okay, fine. So we fill out the paperwork. J-A-N-E. I think that's the end of it. A couple days later, baby's a couple days old, and Steph says, you know, I know you were really close to your grandma. I know this was important to you. I'm fine if you want to change it to D-J-A-N-E. So, cool. I'm out running errands shortly after. Call the hospital. Hey, have you turned in the birth certificate paperwork yet? No. Okay, I'd like to make a change. Can I change it to from J-A-N-E to D-J-A-N-E? Sure, no problem. We'll make the change. I guess they call the mother to confirm that that's okay. And they do that. I get home from the errands. She's crying again. What's wrong? They called me from the hospital. You blah blah blah. I said, you just told me it was okay. I didn't think you'd really do it. And so they call her. Hey, your husband wants to change the baby's name to DeJane. Anyway, so we did it. That is her name. It is D-J-A-N-E, Carmen Jane. The D is silent. And
And you've never had a minute's trouble about it. It meant nothing.
And all I can think is how your deceased grandma Dorothy, your late wonderful mother, how honored she must have felt to know that your way of honoring her is to give her the silent D on the middle name of your second child.
you know what?
Not
Knowing
great
my
honor.
grandmother, you know what she loved? That I made somebody cry.
Oh, well, you know what? That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Let's get another sandwich.
It's really a nice story, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, listen, it's always interesting how we get our names. You mentioned James Bond. That's how I got my middle name, Ian. They didn't know what to make an Edward Herman. They didn't know what to make my middle name. They didn't know what went with that. My dad was a huge James Bond fan, and those movies were so popular during that era. My middle name became Ian.
Well, I mean-
I never liked it.
Without meaning to insult, Ed Herman is a fairly plain name.
Edward
I think
Herman,
Ed,
yeah.
I will say
think
this.
Ian gives it a little panache.
Going
Yeah,
back to
it's-
Jane, what we have gotten out of it is the story is good. That
Yeah.
story's been told countless times. People love it.
It's a head shaker.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those, man.
And it certainly resonates with other men.
Now, let me see here, because...
What is this? This is
here's the thing.
bacon and some steak.
I mean, this looks
some
like...
cheese.
This would it looks
this is
like.
Skeet Burger.
It looks like the Skeet Burger. However, as I read the description of the Skeet Burger, it says chopped brisket and roast beef.
That's brisket.
House sauce, cheddar,
that's it.
hoagie roll. So there's no bacon on there.
Oh.
But I'm seeing bacon.
I see bacon. I mean, very clear.
Liars!
You know what's interesting? I'll bet there's not a male alive who has lived with a woman who has not had that same dynamic happen. When you were told to do something specifically and you did it, and the woman is just crushed by it. I bet everybody's been that.
That type of show. You know, if you want to go
that's
on...
too controversial for
You know, I mean, it's... If you want to go on our Disgruntled Husbands podcast, that's elsewhere on this network.
Wait, hold
That's
it.
fine.
So we can't even say something like that?
You can, but let me ask you this.
We just did.
Do you think that there's an equivalent that they could say the other way?
Of course.
What would that be? Let them get their own podcast.
Well, I don't know that I have to do it, but we certainly would give voice to it and not be offended.
I think that if that's like a takeaway, I feel like that's just the result of two people who really should communicate better.
I mean, you know what? It's not, you're making it into a cosmic thing. It's just a little thing that happens very often in male-female relationships. It's not the end of the world. It ends up being amusing, and it's just a little observation about how humans behave. I don't find it to be a controversial statement. Well, you know, we do have the one of the things, we are three men discussing life. So yes, we will get probably a lot of what we say will have something to do with the fact that we share the same
But
sex
I think that is
and the same experience.
But what I would say is that's actually an unusual situation. I would not say, like, it would never occur to me, here we go again. Like, that's not something
I think it happens. I think virtually every man would say, if he was being honest, say, that's happened to me.
For sure, but I think what you would also...
Because when you told the story, you said, but you told me it was okay.
Yeah, but
and
that doesn't mean...
The real question is, when that does happen, do you believe it is the product of manipulation or a test?
I wasn't meaning it as an insult. I was just saying it's one of those very common
Why do you think it happens?
Or communication skills.
No, I think because men and women are very different in how they view life and how they view conversations. And I think, I
think she didn't think he was going to do it.
This is just going to lead me into saying something else that will be the same sort of thing.
I think this was born out of... I'm going to say it, and he's way too lazy to go through changing the name. She didn't think, wait a minute, so he may not have to legally change her name. He could just maybe make a phone call.
Listen, I love Steph. I don't have anything against her. It was a little manipulation. It was basically, I'm going to try to have it both ways.
Yeah.
I'm going to get the result I wanted, but by hedging after the fact... Maybe that's going to make it seem like I
don't think it was premeditated. I think in the moment she did feel a little bit like, okay, this is important. I want to do it, and I'm going to do it. But there's only a 20% chance it'll actually happen.
Yeah.
I think if I had gone,
I can't believe people care this much about somebody's middle name.
Well,
although it does affect her monogram. So that first initial, you didn't give her a silent. If you gave her a silent D at the end, maybe
now
not
she's
a big
just
deal.
The CDC.
Which, I mean, you kind of did screw her. The weird thing is,
my God,
left out in all of this is, despite the fact that her name is actually Carmen.
I was just going to say this,
You've never once called her Carmen. You call her Coco.
The only person who has ever called her Carmen is my father for like the first year and was really trying to sell it. And then eventually she got old enough to talk and was like, if you call me Carmen again, I'm gonna punch you in the gut.
Were those her first words? Because that would have been priceless. If she was waiting all this time to master the language just to stop this man from calling her name.
But, I mean, it maybe was her first fight.
I liked her name.
I know,
but that's the weird thing about names.
Anyway, but we do talk about it now.
But you do have a weird thing in your family because you
unintentional.
But it happens over and over.
I know.
You do not. You're one of those people that goes by your middle name, not by your first name.
Not my choice.
Your oldest daughter,
but
goes
remember,
by her middle name and not her first name, and your second daughter goes by a nickname and not her first name.
She's a little different. No. Yeah, she's a little different. So I'll start with myself.
Yeah, I know how that happened, but tell us why the decision was made.
My father, I have no idea. I think it was, if I recall the story, it was he wanted to name me after his father, who had recently died not long before I was born.
Alvin.
And my mom probably said, "You're not naming a kid Alvin, like he's
in
doomed on the
1971. It was a little outdated.
It wasn't that controversial.
No, it wasn't that controversial. It was just
said, I mean, nobody.
He'll go by Andy.
Alvin wasn't a popular name, and we thought he'll go by Andy.
That's right.
We'll name him.
And so it was.
So you're Alvin Andrew.
That's right. It was not my decision to. It was not like I was Alvin until 8th grade, and it was like, no, I'm going to be Andy
but
now.
here's the thing: Alvin did make a little resurgence.
Yeah, but I don't think enough of a resurgence. But I think that
as
this
a joke.
But don't you think that this happens as a product of? Because we do want to name after our parents, our grandparents. Names tend to get old-fashioned after some time.
Yeah.
Because we've had a lot of employees that have worked here who don't go by their first name; they go by their middle name. So your oldest child, was that similar too? Because they had a name that was very old-fashioned sounding, and you gave them a different middle name.
Here's what happened there. My wife's granny, who we just saw this weekend, 97 years old.
Wow.
97 years young. And
good for her.
And so
way to go, Eloise.
And Steph was very close with her.
Would you like to live to be on your
with her granny?
It depends on if I'm have good health and good company.
If you're 25 years old, no. If you're 92, yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you can have good health and good company, why wouldn't you?
Anyway,
I'll tell you. Let me.
Well, you interrupted my story.
I'll get back to you.
See, when we're doing this and we're clipping, when you interrupt, it messes up the clip.
All right, we're back to you. So your first daughter.
So close with my wife is close with her granny Eloise, and when she was pregnant, she said, "You know what? I think I want to name our first daughter after my grandma. I love her. She was a very important person in my life. Great, we'll name her Eloise." We go up to Iowa. We're there. Whatever, Granny, we're going to name our daughter after you. Her name's going to be Eloise. Oh, it's so great. Whatever, and I don't know, a few weeks before the baby is born, Steph says, "I don't think I want to name her Eloise. I just don't. I can't see calling her that."
I think we're learning a lot about Steph.
And I said, that
I love you, but you're a little fickle.
That ship has sailed. Like, you went up and you told your grandma you're naming her Eloise. Like, her name's Eloise. You got the middle name to work with, but like,
right? And
you can't.
Thank God too, because who knew Eloise was going to make it to at least 97?
That's right.
This wasn't a short-term deal.
Yeah. So you got the middle name to play with, but her first name's Eloise. You made your bed, now lie in it. So that's how Ruby became another person who uses the middle name. And then Coco.
Now, when you're around Grandma Eloise,
no,
they still call her Ruby?
Yeah.
Does that take away, do you think, the honor at all from her? Do you ever ask her about that? Could we get her on the podcast?
The way this
she is no longer, I think.
She's past the point of offense? Psychologically?
No, past the point of communication mostly.
Well, she's past the point of offense?
Yeah.
So you think if she is offended, she's forced to be quiet about it now?
That's right.
All right, well, as long as we don't have to hear it.
We offended her into silence.
We've solved the problem. Now, what about the second child? Because now you have...
So Coco...
where's Carmen? Why even pick that name if you're not going to call her
Steph's
that?
Mexican, wanted a Mexican name, and I don't know why that happened. For some reason, I think she was going to call her Carmen, and then Ruby, who was, a year old when Steph was pregnant, for whatever reason, at some point, I think, so Coco is a nickname for a person who has a hard consonant C as a first name and a last name. So Carmen Crouppen. And so I guess we started saying that while Steph was pregnant, and Ruby, who couldn't say much at the time, Baby Coco, Baby Coco. And so it sort of became this, okay, I guess we're going to call this Baby Coco, but now she doesn't have any name that's legal on her birth certificate. So we've talked a lot about, we probably at some point should consider changing at least her first name to Coco, because it doesn't make sense for that to actually be her name.
Could we get you to spell it like hot cocoa? COCOA?
I mean, that's up to her.
Could we get a silent D in front of this one? DeCoco?
DeCoco, I don't see phonetically.
Now that's a cool name, DeCoco.
In this language, I don't think that could be silent.
All right, well, these are
let
good
me get
questions.
A sandwich.
All right, while he's getting this question, let's go back to you now. I'm going to put you back on your question.
Which was?
You about whether or not you'd want to live to 97.
Oh, yeah. I was talking to my dentist, who has a number of older people. And he says with his people in their late 90s and hundreds, which he has of some.
Jesus, talk about a niche. How old is your dentist?
He's in his early 70s.
Okay. So much younger than my dad's dentist, who is 92.
If you're in your hundreds, why are you even still going to the dentist?
Well, no, what he said was...
That's how they got to be in their hundreds. Good.
Most of them are very unhappy.
I mean, they never envisioned they were going to live to 100 and still have to go to the dentist.
Well, no,
well,
but I mean,
wait, hold on.
But that's kind of sad, isn't it?
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Ask him if the people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, etc., are also unhappy. Everyone's unhappy at the dentist.
No, it's not that. I mean, that's not
now,
what he
this
was saying.
sandwich is there at La French Dip, so there's probably
But that's kind of sad, isn't it? We
There
all
is.
want longevity. Wouldn't it be horrible if longevity is horrible?
You know, I think longevity is not always a great thing. I mean, listen, when you're going to the movies, there's a certain length to tell that story. And if they do it just right, it's a good movie. But if you take a movie and you put an extra hour in there and it doesn't really serve the story, it's not good.
Get yourself
I'm
enough.
not sure the analogy, although it fits, I'm not sure that's what it is.
Oh, that's nice.
But to be honest with you, I mean, as I age, I'm what?
80.
No,
79.
I know, but I'm 25 years older than you guys.
Yeah.
And I can sort of see how that happens.
What happens?
Old age robs you of some of the enjoyment you have in life.
Sure.
It's got to.
You know what I mean? You sort of see it before it, takes it all away.
I will say this. I feel like assisted living, retirement homes carry a really bad sort of name, and people are resistant to it. Oh my God, I feel so terrible putting my father. I feel like at a certain point.
It seems like he's got an idea for me.
No, but it's.
He's been working on this one for a decade.
Oh, see, I would have taken a much bigger dip there because you're going to want to double dip
Well,
now.
the problem is, it's with the micro. There's
Here,
It's challenging. It's challenging.
End.
Okay.
Anyway,
Okay, go ahead.
I feel like, depending on the age and what your needs are, I feel like it would be great, like living in the dorms. I think it'd be so much fun. And you see all these people who maybe their spouse has passed away, who are basically in their 80s, 90s, just sitting alone, don't have a lot of family, never interact with anybody, just sit on a, couch and watch TV all day, every day, never leave the house. And I think living in an assisted living where there are people around, there are activities, I think it'd actually be a way better life, a way happier life.
Have you noticed this at all? I've noticed this as I've gotten older. And I wonder if this is maybe what leads to that. And that is this. There was a point in time where I knew everything that was going on in pop culture. I knew the music, I knew the actors, the actresses. If you picked up an Us magazine and leafed through it, I knew who everybody was and assumed that everybody did. This was pop culture. And you get to a certain age where you start realizing, I don't know who half these people are. Watched Dancing with the Stars last night, and I don't know who the hell the stars are except for Andy Richter. And you start realizing that as you get older, pop culture doesn't age with you. You know, pop culture is kind of dictated by people in their teens and their 20s, and they set the culture. And the older you get, the further and further away you get from feeling like you're really connected to the experience.
That's a very new phenomenon.
Is it? Because
It is.
I mean, I'm feeling it, and I'm kind of feeling like, and I'm okay with it. Like, it's not like I feel like the world is passing by. I kind of feel like, okay, I see how this works. I had my time when everything was tailored toward my, taste or interest, and my time has passed.
But I think that's a product of two things: cable television and the internet. Prior to the internet, there was so much less. There weren't all these streaming channels. There was so much less content. So there are so many fewer stars, and the internet created like SoundCloud and all these sources of places where people could put their music out. There's so much more music. There's so much more content. There's so many more people who are relevant in pop culture. And then cable television, kind of another wave. When there were only 3 channels, everybody was famous who was on television. And pop culture was, when we were kids and you watched Gilligan's Island, it didn't matter if you were 15 or 95. Gilligan was somebody relevant to you in pop culture.
So do you feel like this has really kind of divided us as a people? Because we're not all having the same experience anymore.
Correct.
What? Also, I think I blame a lot of it on the demise of the general interest magazine.
Mm-hmm. Or like a Reader's Digest type of thing?
No, I mean like Time Magazine and Newsweek, which have become shells of what they used to be.
Well, don't you think that that's because people want to know everything the second it happens and published news?
Right. No, you're
getting things late.
But I think the idea of somebody having a broad range of interests, I think everything is narrowed down a lot. If you read Time Magazine every week, you were up on virtually every important topic, including music.
Really?
Every month.
Yeah, but the thing is if it were a weekly publication, by the time it was published and got to your house, it would all now be dated.
Except what he's saying is that it's not really a news source so much as it's an information.
Not for what happened today or yesterday.
No, I get it. But there's so much.
You would read about entertainment, and it would talk about music. I'm just saying.
Right, but there's so much entertainment that I think even that becomes dated week to week.
Guys, do you think people remember that we're not just guys eating sandwiches, but we're actually a law firm that handles injury cases?
You think the podcast has gotten so big, they forgot about our roots?
Have they forgotten about this man, 45 years on the television, telling people that we don't get paid unless you get paid? Do you think they know that?
Tell them.
We don't get paid if you don't get paid.
There you go. You've been hurt? Call us. Now back to the podcast.
Well, you know what?
You couldn't fit it all. It's too voluminous. Even if it's still topical, it's still voluminous. There's the information itself.
Voluminous.
There are 1,000 stars instead of 10. There are 1,000 hit songs and 50 different charts.
I bought a Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Last week.
Yeah.
I don't know anything in it. I didn't.
Rolling Stone magazine.
It was the. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I never even think of using magazine with that.
Yeah.
It just used to be the Rolling Stone. Anyway, now it was their Spanish, not their Spanish, but it was a magazine, an edition of the Rolling Stone that was dedicated to Spanish influenced music.
Oh, so you're just
probably a product of
catching up on your Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny, yeah. With the Super Bowl, probably.
Bad Bunny, I know him. I mean, these people were people I've never, ever heard the names. I mean, and they had a 9-page story about
I like Spanish music, always have. They got good rhythms. How do you not love the feel of it? You make you want to get up and dance.
Yeah. I think they're very exciting people.
I do think it's hysterical that all those people were concerned about the language barrier. Half the songs on the radio, I don't know what the hell they're saying. They're speaking English. I don't know. And I couldn't care less anyway. I'm not listening there like they're reading me an audio book. You feel music.
But what did the one guy, Mike Johnson, he said, who's the guy?
Oh, Lee Greenwood?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. He should have been
He's
so out of it's very out of touch.
For saying that with a straight face. You say, how do I take this artist who's got 80 million followers, is an international superstar with a bazillion downloads, but he's not relevant. Give me that 78-year-old guy who had one cover hit 40 years ago because it happened to be about the United States.
He's proud to be an American.
What does that even mean? I go on the old George Carlin theory. You should never be proud of something that you didn't earn. If you lucked into it by circumstance, then what right do you have to be proud of it? You can like it being an American or like being Irish.
You know something?
But to take pride in it is a sin.
I think the bigger thing is
totally 100% agree
with George Carlin.
You know how people walk up to other people. Wait, hold on, I got it.
Oh boy. Well, I'll say
you
it
know how they walk up to people and say,
clear.
"I'm so proud of you."
Yeah.
You know, you won. You know, like if somebody here, you know, gets married or they have some big event, you go, "I'm so proud of you." I think that is the worst wording for the feeling. What you really should be saying, I'm so happy for you that something wonderful. But pride, I believe, like you say, is earned. In other words, you shouldn't be proud of anything that you had nothing to do with, because it infers that when you're proud of something,
you're taking
that you
ownership
did
of
something,
it.
and you say.
But the bigger point is, it's the Super Bowl. They can have whoever they want on there. This is not a political rally. It's not a political statement.
Not.
It is entertainment.
And you know what? And
most people don't even watch the halftime show.
And even so, you know, in all fairness, when you've seen the old white musicians they've had on a million times, and they're wonderful and they've had great careers, but we can't exactly say that those were universal artists that were there to please everybody. I think the idea was there's no way to please everybody. Pick somebody enormously popular and let them do their thing.
That's right. It's who's going to entertain. Oh, how about the most popular artist on the planet? He might appeal to some people.
Yeah. Well, this is like my mother and my father.
Which one am I, your father or your mother?
Both of them. They had what was known as an oppositional relationship.
Yeah, but this is the Super Bowl. This is the NFL.
No, but this is what you're
it's
saying.
It's a nice jacket.
No, but
where'd you get this jacket?
Oh, well.
I like this jacket. Let's do
this.
Wait, just for 1 second. Let me just...
I've moved
what
in...
Is this corduroy?
Yeah, but it is... The style is... It's a chore coat.
Yes, Georgia. They're very big right now. I picked up a few when I was in Denver.
I'm very heavy into chore coats.
Oh, well, we're going to have to compare chore coats. That's a very nice one. I picked up a few while I was up there, different styles.
No,
that's a really big thing right now.
And
everyone's making them.
It's very warm.
I like a corduroy.
And he likes being warm.
I have a corduroy
the hell's
shirt
that?
that's very warm.
This is a sandwich. This is a show about sandwiches.
Wait, I know, but why would we... is that the bacon? Is that the crispy bacon?
That must be. Anyway, it's stupid. It's the NFL. Oh.
No, but what I was saying about oppositional, the United States is in a situation where anything one half of the U.S. says they like, the other one hates, and vice versa.
I'm not a part of that, by the way.
I'm not either. I feel like I'm just the rational middle.
You know what? That's what everybody
I ignore
thinks.
it all.
Except I am.
I'm not either. I just don't care. I ignore it. Speaking of, you didn't stay up. Did you stay up for that World Series game?
You know, I stayed
the
up.
other night. You stayed up
through I stayed up to the 14th inning, and then I said to myself, you know what? I went to bed for that last. When was the last big one?
There was
the
a 15th
Mariners?
inning one in the Mariners.
Yeah, and I went to sleep like in the 14th inning because this is never going to end. And I thought I'd stay up, and I went to sleep, and then I saw it went to 18, and so I was happy I went to sleep. Did you watch the whole thing?
I fell asleep after 15.
So
is that the longest game ever?
Tied
World Series game.
Well, but it's tied for the longest World Series game, and the other game that went 18 innings was also the Dodgers a few years ago, and they won.
And even a more fun fact. The national anthem at both of those games was sung by Brad Paisley.
Really?
Yeah, talk about a weird coincidence. The same guy. So you don't want him doing the national anthem unless you're prepared to stay for 18.
Is Paisley the material that has like an amoeba shape?
It's a pattern.
Mm-hmm. It's a pattern,
but
amoeba
it's
pattern.
like an amoeba?
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
Huh.
Like a bandana.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, Paisley.
Good to know.
You know what I like? Houndstooth. A houndstooth pattern.
There can be.
I've
What is that? A little like black and white check?
They're not black and white necessarily.
But it's a
They're
little
like little.
check.
Yeah, I have a
little-
houndstooth pattern on the seats in my automobile.
Oh, really? Well, that sounds
But I
lovely.
think a houndstooth sport coat looks nice.
Oh, they always do. Of
course.
Yeah, because they have a lot of colors. A lot of colors go with it.
There aren't more.
It sounds like you're saving what could be the very best sandwich for last.
I'm stuck.
I know, but we still have a meatball sandwich coming, and that sandwich,
sorry, Skeeter.
I would call it a foot long, but it's clearly
Jen,
bigger than
could
a foot.
I get another drink?
Oh, yeah.
Here? No, there
There's
it's.
spills all over himself. There's the bit.
Do you like pineapple on pizza?
No.
Hey, we
disgusting.
can have security in here.
Oh, is it disgusting?
security.
Have you ever eaten a pineapple pizza, like pineapple and ham?
Excuse me.
I don't
Isn't
know
that
that ever.
very controversial.
Well, I think it is. I mean, not as controversial
made it
as
so
like
controversial?
anchovies.
Who made it
I think it just
controversial?
sounds stupid, so most people are like, I'm not eating that. I don't even know.
silly.
I'm sure I've eaten it. Some people love it, though.
Yeah, I know they do. Let's, you know what?
pineapple,
People could put whatever the hell they want on whatever the hell they want. What is it our business?
Of all the fruits,
I like a pineapple.
Pineapple is a
pineapple-
high percentage fruit.
but it has a intense burst of flavor.
yeah.
Nice.
A good pineapple is really intense.
And a good pineapple is not hard to find. They're what Larry David would call a high percentage fruit, as opposed to say an apricot, where maybe 1 out of 4 or 5 you get a good one.
Is Curb Your Enthusiasm over?
It's over. Yeah.
So
they
he's
did
never
12
coming
seasons.
back.
You know, I mean, you never say never, but they did.
Didn't he
treat
end
it like it was?
ended on in a Seinfeld way?
Yeah, he did a finale almost
Was it
identical.
better?
It was fine. I didn't have a problem with the Seinfeld finale.
Have you watched The Chair Company?
I don't know
The
what's
show?
that.
Oh no, I've seen
What is
it.
that? I don't know what it
haven't
is.
watched.
It's this guy who works at a business and has like a chair breaks, and it becomes like this obsession that there's something going on with this chair company. It's sort of Seinfeldian in
Who's in it?
it's. I don't know. I'm not good at that. Actors, people.
Okay.
Well, how long do you think before there will be a totally AI sitcom or show? Like, it has to, like, in fact, it could be created today. I would think there are
They
prompts.
could create it. Honestly, I only hope it would be terrible. And then nobody would watch it after the first episode out of curiosity.
Yeah.
Because so far, there's been really no evidence to suggest that AI has
funny.
the ability to be funny.
Well, I'm sure there are AI jokes,
But that doesn't mean they're funny.
but
There's a
I'm
million
guessing-
dad jokes. None of them are funny.
but you haven't heard all of them.
Well, I've heard enough of them
million
to
of
know
them.
that they
No,
all
no.
have that. They're groany. You're like, oh, I get it. You were because of that sounds like
Right.
that. Oh,
Well,
it's a pun.
Is there any agreed upon creativity, AI creativity?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, isn't AI, at least now, isn't it basically they scan the whole encyclopedia and then regurgitate it
No.
with using language that they've also, taken in and have organized?
No,
I
I
mean,
think
isn't it all
That's
just
no.
replacing?
It's not.
No?
No. That's the source material.
Right.
Certainly. But I think that there is an analysis and then a creation of something new based upon those facts.
I always think, as a human being, I don't want AI to be more creative than I am.
Yeah,
I like to think.
we did, but that doesn't mean that I can't take the culmination of all of the humans that played a role in that
It's not
and
good.
become smarter.
It's not good.
It's not good. No, I think it's going to ultimately lead in many ways to our demise.
Well, I'm sure we've talked about the gray goo, right? The gray there are only a handful of like philosophical global killers, just world-ending events where the entire population of humans on Earth is just
Solar
gone.
flares,
And one of them is
asteroids.
I don't even know how many asteroids are thought that they would kill every human on Earth. Maybe. But it is a theory that these sort of nano bots, particles that are AI, I don't know what they're made for, but they have some purpose originally that they were created, just nanoparticles, and they self-replicate. And, it's fine when you have 1, then 2, then 4. But the problem is that increases exponentially, and eventually they replicate to the point where they encapsulate the entire planet in this gray goo, and we're all just sort of encapsulated and instantly sort of suffocate and die.
So it's literal goo. It's not like a metaphoric.
Right. No, it's a gray
it's
goo.
It's a self-replicating organism, and with no way to stop it.
And it just suffocates us all.
And then everyone is just encapsulated.
Now, if that were to happen, do you even try to bother outrunning it, or do you just take yourself out? Because who the hell wants to be suffocated with
running
goo?
it.
No,
but do you take yourself out before it gets to you?
Yeah. I mean, I would certainly have sleeping pills available.
No.
I don't know how much advance notice you know.
What?
I think you'd see it coming down the street. You might want to keep those in your pocket. I
don't know how much advance notice you have.
I think you'd have some advance.
Who knows? Because it probably happens quick.
Well, they used to carry him in the war, a little cyanide, right? So that if you got captured, you could take it real quick so that you wouldn't give over any important information to the enemy.
Although, I think suffocation's pretty quick.
Is it?
I bet
it's very painful.
I guess like drowning.
They say that's the most painful of all.
I think that's worse.
Yeah.
No, nothing beats that you go to sleep and never wake up, huh? Is that still the winner? That's still the best?
Although I guess a gunshot, to the head.
Yeah, but then, because you know what? Because you only think about yourself.
Well, this
Somebody's
is getting
got to clean
morbid.
That.
I think that's the last. Oh, I was thinking I would love to get a very smart religious person on it.
Yeah?
Which religion?
To do what?
There's so many of them.
To talk about the existence of God. I would like to have a very high class.
Yeah, I think it's about time the Three Lawyers Eating Sandwiches takes on God.
Well, I mean, it's
and his existence.
Maybe that's
it's not like there's people trying to get into the doors here to watch this.
Oh, we have.
What do you think our viewers should?
I have no idea, and I don't do it for that.
But that would be more of a presentation than a conversation, I think.
No, I have.
Maybe save it for your Men versus Their Spouses podcast.
I mean, you're turning 80. No, it just seems to me if you had a genuine curiosity about that, and you're now turning 80 in a few days. Well, why have you never made an effort to seek that out?
I have.
What are you trying to seek out?
What did you find out? Anything worth listening to?
No.
Oh, then there's your answer.
I mean, just hope,
Do you find as you're getting older that you have a greater and greater desire to believe?
Of course.
But nothing's working.
No, it's hard. It's like saying, make yourself like chocolate ice cream if you don't like it.
He doesn't have a greater and greater desire to stay on mic.
Well, it's hard.
It's hard. It is very tough with eating in the microphones. Not easy.
Listen, you're either a professional or you're not.
And we could do wireless mics, but this kind of looks more podcast.
Yeah, I think these are the, if we want to grow an audience. I mean, if you want to talk about it, I think we could have.
I don't know that turning into a religious podcast.
No.
Let me ask you this: When was the last time you sought out? When was the last time you sought out through search on either TikTok or YouTube a really intelligent religious person explaining the existence of God? Is that something you do?
What are you looking?
Because I'm sure this has been done, and you could watch it, but even you don't have enough interest to look it up.
No, but I don't think.
Do you have to eat the meatball like that?
Well, everything.
He's a deconstructed meatball sandwich.
No,
That's fine.
It's the use of the hands as a cutting tool.
Give me something else.
Well, ask for something. I've got knives.
Well, you got that knife. Why don't you cut it up like you do for on your kids' plate when they're eating meat?
Yeah,
he'll cut you up little pieces,
and I'll even get you a fork.
I'm fine.
You're not fine because I know you'll keep at it.
What did you think of these sandwiches?
Good. I thought they were good.
They were solid, right? I don't know.
Yeah. I will say this. I think, because that meatball was in there for a very long time in the heat.
Yeah.
And it was still
not hot.
I think they served us maybe a to-go, maybe even frozen. I don't know what happened.
Maybe they serve it cold, and that's what Vicky was trying to tell you.
A cold meatball sandwich? Well, that's a mistake.
Maybe what she was telling you is that they're all warm, but this one's cold. Not meaning that it's supposed to be cold, saying like this one feels cold.
I don't think that's what she said.
Can I go back?
We might have to get Vicky on as our next guest.
Let me get you
her. I know we can get.
No, just forget it. I'm done.
What do you?
I just was wondering, what kind of conversations would you like to have? You would think are interesting, and it might be interesting to other people.
I never think about what's interesting to other people because that's just guesswork. I know for me, okay. I like to talk to people. If I could have my way in getting to know people, I want to know people's origin stories. Like, I want to know, what were the things that happened to you in your life? Where was your character forged? What was that fire that forged your character? And hear about those couple of core memories that really shaped the course of who they would become, how their operating system developed, make them who they are today. Okay. Like, to me, that's fascinating. A lot of people couldn't even answer that question, and you have to kind of pull it out of them, right? Almost like Socrates, with a series of questions designed to really learn who that person, because I feel like until you know that, you don't really know another person.
Well, we should maybe get somebody, it'd be good. Tanya. She had, I would guess, an interesting story, starting in Eastern Europe and coming here.
I think most people's origin stories even go earlier than that. I think a lot of it are very early childhood developmental things that happen to you.
What about me? What would you find very interesting to talk about?
Well, before I get to that.
Oh, okay.
What are you looking for if somebody is very educated in religion? What question, if you could describe after the podcast, let's say after the podcast, after this conversation, you got exactly what you were looking for. In a sentence or two, what is it that you would like this person to say that would be interesting?
Well, frankly, I've heard there is no God, there is no anything. I think that's pretty well established. I would love
but that's but with no logic. I mean,
there's actually a ton of logic in there is no God thing, because there's a lot of evidence to disprove a God. There's very little to prove that there is one. So I think that's the harder argument.
Well, but that's
really
the amount of evidence is in the eye of the beholder. I think there are a lot of very smart, very religious people that are smart, and whatever it is,
I think there's
convinced them.
Let me say this.
Let's take the word God out of it, right? And let's just call it a higher power.
How about this?
Something, whether it's a God or we're in a simulation and there's a pimple-faced teenager in his mother's basement somewhere controlling all of us as Sims, whatever it is, I think the thought of a God is that something is guiding what is happening. It's not just all a series of coincidences.
More people believe in that than don't, but you have hundreds of religions, and most of them are mutually exclusive. Most of them are a one God situation.
Yeah, that's stupid.
So when that's the case, even if you could prove that a God existed, how do you go the next step to prove it's my God and not the other hundreds that are right now being worshipped?
But does that mean anything?
Of course it does. Of course it does. Because, if an entire system of religion says there's one God and it's ours, and they're wrong, as they very likely are.
Wait. But you're assuming somebody's right.
Well, no. The basic premise. I'm not assuming it. If the starting position is there is a God, even if what he just said is true, even if you just call it a higher power, not a God, even if we all agreed on that, it gets us nowhere, because then it just becomes, but it's my guy and not your guy.
No, frankly, in other words, and maybe we're not saying the same thing. If there were 1 million people and they each had a different idea of what something beyond us was, if I was sure one of them was right, I wouldn't care which one's right.
But I think also that
unless it was some terrible.
You may not, but the other 999,000 do.
Yeah, but I think what it is,
but this is an individual.
But I think what it is they're right and they're wrong. They're right in that scenario that there is a God. They're just wrong that it's theirs or the assumptions they've made.
And that's fine.
Remember, even if they're go on the assumption
that's not what you're espousing is a personal philosophy.
Of course.
Yeah, no, but even if you
not
start
the one that's controlling.
Starting with the premise that we have definitively proven that there is a God, right?
A higher power.
A higher power, whatever it is. Anything that we know about this God, or that any religion has, theorized to know about this God, is just made up. Like, you don't know this. You're theorizing it. It's
Right.
stories that have been passed down over thousands of years. And so I think probably we're all right that there's a God, and maybe this God serves all of them.
do you
but
think
they're just wrong about what their description of this.
Do you believe somebody's right?
I don't believe that one religion is nailed it and it's their God and nobody else's
that's
God.
not what I asked. But do you believe that there is a God, but we don't know much more about him than the fact that there is a God somewhere?
I think that I don't believe that everything that has occurred on this earth and in this solar system was just a coincidence and an accident. What caused it? How that happened? Is it a simulation? Is it a singular God? Is it a panel of gods?
You believe there's something beyond our current state of knowledge.
Of understanding.
Listen, I believe in a higher power. I call it Mother Nature. There's no doubt that we get enough examples of Mother Nature flexing her muscles to show us that we're very small and the world is very powerful. That's a higher power. That is something that is more powerful than humans.
But Hulk Hogan, by that logic, Hulk Hogan was a higher power to you.
Over some people and a lesser power to others.
Well, no, he's definitively a higher power than you, because like Mother Nature, he could crush you like an eggshell.
Yes, but you have to be a higher power to everybody to be the higher power. Mother Nature can crush everybody. Hulk Hogan could not crush everybody.
Everybody believes that there is a higher power,
but that's
because
just sheer...
they know there's a grizzly bear, and a grizzly bear could come and kill me.
I'm not talking about a higher power that can kill some people, but not all. I'm talking about something that we could all acknowledge is stronger than all of us collectively.
Okay, that's
the only thing that's stronger than us collectively is Mother Nature.
But Mother Nature is just strength.
But Mother Nature,
it's just brute force.
No, it's not just strength. Mother Nature is also the reason why when ice freezes, it floats to the top instead of sinks to the bottom. If it sunk to the bottom, the world would have frozen over in 2 weeks. Mother Nature is also the reason why trees give off oxygen and take in carbon dioxide, and animals take in oxygen and make carbon dioxide. Like, that's the power of nature. It's not just for bad. It's the reason why we're all here. It's the balance of the universe.
I think that what you're doing is expanding what most people would define Mother Nature as.
Oh, no, not at all. No. That's exactly how they would define it. You're defining it as weather. I'm defining it as nature. That's exactly how Mother Nature is defined.
So, like, for instance, when you look at a parrot and the colors, or like a dog and like it's white except every paw is perfectly black, or the spots on a leopard, whatever. Is that Mother Nature?
I mean, I guess it's part of nature. I don't think that. I don't personally think that any higher power works on details like that.
So you think all that's just a coincidence?
It's not coincidence. I just think it's just ease.
So
I think it's the repetition of a cell you keep printing the same. Okay. If I take this on a photocopy, it's going to shoot out the exact same photocopy every time. That's how cells work. That's why paws look the same as other paws.
No, they don't. That's the point. It is two leopards don't look the same. Two snowflakes don't look the same.
No, but two twins do look the same.
But they're not the same.
Okay, let's take that example. So I remember when Steph was pregnant the first time, we saw some YouTube thing, a TED Talk, and it was some, one of the biggest mathematicians in the world giving this TED Talk about pregnancy, saying we don't have mathematical models that could ever potentially even begin to explain how pregnancy is possible, how this happens, how when Steph was born, she had inside her eggs that had the exact directions to one day turn something into a human being inside her. So, is that Mother Nature?
Yes, that's nature. That's literally Mother Nature.
But I think what I'm saying is I don't think most people would use Mother Nature to describe the miracle of pregnancy. I think that is adding a godlike.
Right, because we know historically we are a male-dominated society, and it makes us feel much better to think that, that an old white guy with the beard made all of us, instead of thinking that Mother Nature made everything.
I don't think everyone's God is male.
But Mother Nature doesn't.
Most major religions have
Mother
a male
Nature
God.
does not satisfy what people turn to religion.
No, I know it. Of course it doesn't, and nor should it.
And so,
Stephen, in your church is God a man.
So you're basically saying
Mother Nature is scientific.
You're basically saying
God is the spirit.
Yeah. Yeah, you say that, but then you'll be the first to say that Jesus was made in God's image, and Jesus is a man.
Well, we are made.
Well, but you could, but just because
By that argument, you say that Jen is a man.
Well, I'm not going to.
Is that true?
Punch Jem. She looks like a woman to me, but in today's world, I don't know.
I think we are flailing, and rightfully so. It's an abstract.
I would like
topic. What do you want this person to say?
What I want him to say
is prove to you that there's a God.
How about this? Or
it won't make any difference.
How about a more realistic? How about a more realistic argument that at some point along the way, rich people were very, very scared, as they still remain today, that the poor people will get organized and take them over, as they should, because the poor people always outnumber the rich people 100 to 1, right? Even more than that.
All of time.
And the only way that they could somehow get poor people to be okay with living this meager existence when they're living an opulent one was convincing. Let me finish. Was convincing them that, listen, this is just in this life here. I know it looks like we have everything and you have nothing, but don't worry, because after you die, let me tell you what's waiting for you. The meek are going to inherit this earth. You got everything great going. All you got to do is let us do whatever the hell we want to do now. You just take care of us. You obedient. Follow these rules. We're not going to follow them, but we need you to follow them. But trust us. When you die, you're going to be ahead of us. Doesn't that make a lot more sense as to how we got to where we are right now? Look at the world we're living in.
I'm not sure.
Where's the argument that it doesn't play out like that every day?
Well, I think it just depends. It's like gravity. Have you gone through and done the scientific experiments necessary to prove gravity scientifically?
I do not.
Just did it.
I do not know how my toaster works.
Why is that gravity and not God? You don't know the difference. I mean, my point is I think with the belief in a higher power, they call it faith for a reason. It is somebody decides
you're absolutely
that
right.
This is what's important to me.
There's no proof.
There's no proof of a lot of things.
But I'm looking for proof.
Wait, if you want to believe in it, you look around for things that are evidence of it, and you start to.
I do.
You start to convince yourself and start to believe that, okay, this couldn't possibly all just be a coincidence that just happened.
I understand.
And I don't believe that this is all just a coincidence that's just happened.
But that would explain a creator. But what about an ongoing presence of a God?
Well, if there was a creator,
why would he leave?
Have you never built anything and left it?
Well, but
where would he go?
No. You have you never built something like you never did a jigsaw puzzle and walked away? Where's every jigsaw puzzle you ever put together?
But if there is a creator, why wouldn't he? I mean,
because he's gone on to something else, like every architect does.
Well, but also
you make a movie, a filmmaker, and then you leave it. You go make another movie.
Well, but also remember,
for people, he's not a people.
But this is a power.
Again, see, it's because I said so.
This is a power that has the ability to do things that we don't understand, like pregnancy. So maybe this creator moved on to other things, but left the ability for these cells that are contained within any human to somehow just magically create a body inside of another human being or dog or cat. I mean, there are things that are inexplicable.
Sounds like a bad idea.
Could this person have left this magic out there in the world? I don't know how it works. It just doesn't seem like it's all just a big random coincidence.
At most, I could be convinced it was a set it and forget it situation, because I believe I'm a person of logic.
But then,
and you cannot have an all powerful and an all loving God. Those two things cannot simultaneously exist.
Well, but
it's impossible.
Well,
it doesn't have to be. First of all, a belief in God does not mandate that God is all powerful.
I agree,
and
but most major
loving.
religions say they're all knowing, all loving, and all powerful.
Which I am not a member
but you're
of,
saying,
really.
But that argument
subscriber to.
usually is used in the context that here's that cancer, children getting cancer.
That's an example that's often cited.
The things that,
yes.
And I've heard other people say, well, cancer, while it seems here on Earth, that's the worst possible scenario. In the greater scheme of existence, the child getting cancer is the equivalent of you stubbing your toe in the middle of the night, and it hurts very bad for a second, a minute, and then it goes away, and you continue.
You go on to an eternal life.
In other words, our lives, our existence, are so much greater than just this life.
Right.
That in the context of the whole thing, these things that we claim are these horrible things that God has done don't mean very much.
But I don't think that all religions...
And frankly, to me, that makes some sense.
Well, I know to you that makes you feel slightly better.
But it makes sense too. It makes sense.
But are all religions don't believe in a loving God that are just totally benevolent, right?
All powerful, all knowing, all
Jews
loving.
don't believe in a benevolent God, do they?
No.
How could you? If you read the Old Testament, and quite frankly, I mean, I would have to talk to Christians because they're I guess it's the same Old Testament, but it's the way that it's looked at is obviously very different. Because
the Old Testament,
because he's
I've never
much
read it,
scarier God in the Old Testament.
It seems like there's a lot of payback,
a lot of retribution. I mean, look, Noah's Ark.
Do exactly what I want.
Noah's Ark. It's like I screwed up, so what? I'm going to wipe out every animal in existence and start over again.
But once again, if our existence is so much larger than we understand. Right now, what do we figure? We got 75, 80 years, 90 years.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Lucky.
You know, you came from nothing and you're going to go back to nothing. What if this was just a split second in our existence?
Which it could be.
And we there's so much that the tragedies of this life will be dwarfed by the existence being,
higher power.
To me, that makes a lot of sense. That could be true. I don't believe it, but at least that makes some logical sense. In other words, because if you pull the scale back to trillions of times what we think it is, the child that gets cancer,
I know. Because here's my response to you. Because even if that were true, even if everything you said were true, then why wouldn't an all-loving God give us the peace of mind of feeling a comfort then when someone's taken
That's faith.
low? Well, it's not really, though, because even though people will have faith, and listen, if people have it, I'm not shitting on it. I would love to have it if I could have it. I don't have it.
You would take a pill, wouldn't you?
You know, if I could, of course.
You could take
but hold on. Maybe this is your set it and forget it is really not set it and forget it, but rather this life, this blip on the radar, is an entrance exam
and remember,
to eternal life, to see where you belong for the rest of eternity.
And so when babies die, they what? They didn't belong. They did belong. What happened?
They get a pass. I don't know. I mean, those are.
The thing is, what if this spark that's you has this incredibly large existence? I think the fact that in one of your lives, out of the trillion lives or experiences you'll have, one of your children did die that one time.
Or maybe
then if somebody said, you don't explain why God does what he does, I would say, well, because I'm viewing that child dying as something that my 85 years or 90 years are going to be destroyed by. Yeah. It'll ruin my thing. And if that was all I ever had, it would be an unexplainable thing. But if it's virtually nothing, it's like a mosquito bite. Where in the grand scheme of everything...
But you're not feeling it that way. You don't experience it that way. It doesn't feel like a mosquito bite if your child dies.
Of course you wouldn't.
Wait,
you wouldn't.
But if he was all powerful, he could have made it so that you did.
Wait, but you don't feel it that way now. But maybe that's because 12,000 years from now, when you have the
Right,
perspective.
but an all-powerful person could have had you feeling that way now.
But you're saying,
I don't know.
But you're judging what a perfect life is on a very different basis than an all-knowing, all-powerful. You know, it might be that 5 billion lives ago you lost a child, and it gave you something that might be useful in the rest of everything. You didn't ruin your whole existence. You ruined just a tiny,
it would be a beautiful thing if any of that made sense at all. But man,
but here's the thing.
If you're selling it, I ain't
Maybe
buying
this
it.
is all still part of the birthing process.
to me-
Maybe we're still being born in this life.
To me, the only thing about what I've just said is that I don't see anything rationally which says it couldn't happen. I don't believe it would happen, but I don't see any real logical reason that it couldn't. That's all. A lot of other things I do say they could never be.
Well, I know
It makes no sense.
No, but
This
you're
would make
choosing that
sense
because
to me.
I know it sounds that way, but we also know that at one point you're alive,
I'm
and
going
another
to
point
have
you're
to give
dead.
each of you a last word here.
Yeah, I'm just saying, at one point you know you're alive, and another point you know you're dead.
Wait, Stephen, be ready for next week.
Yeah, bone up a little bit, man. You might be the closest we have. At least
Yeah.
you're a pastor.
Now, the one thing I will say
Yeah,
is if you can accept
yeah.
the existence of God and that part of religion is correct, they got that right. I refuse to accept that any religion is correct in what they believe and know about God. I think they're probably all wrong about that, and they're
that's
doing their
probably true.
best. And even if there is a God, I think you can accept both, that there is a God and that organized religion was designed to control in the manner
Right, yes,
that you...
which is how I've always landed, except my higher power is Mother Nature.
Anyway,
I mean,
you want a last word, or you done?
I feel he's articulated his position pretty well.
No, anybody who wants to come on.
Yeah, and listen,
who knows
none of us have any
not
claim.
just anybody.
But we don't
anybody
have...
who legitimately thinks they can convince him to have this faith in God.
You know what?
Maybe do it offline.
Most likely, anybody who could really do that.
Is God?
No, if you probably think they're crazy.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Listen.
No, listen. It's you. You're the only person who convinced you of all the crazy things
right
you've
now,
convinced
Well, I
yourself
did- I
about
did
in your
think about
life.
it, you
Yes, I
have
did
convinced
come
yourself
up-
of the opposite.
I've convinced myself that there is a possibility.
You've tried desperately to find a
Definitely,
path
yes,
to
yeah.
explanation, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But remember, right now, you can't even envision that somebody would have the ability to actually make you internalize that and believe it to be true.
We've
which
said it all.
suggests that whatever's happened to you in life has actually done the exact opposite. It's built that level of skepticism, opposition. Clearly, I have it.
Possibly.
So maybe that person was the higher
I think
power.
I think we've said it all.
We've said it all. And listen, none of us claim to be right on any of this. We don't know. I don't know a damn thing.
I know
I'm just
even
looking
less
at
than
this
him.
and trying to understand it.
I think it's
But
about
what is there to be right about?
Convince.
You're not even convinced of it. In fact, you made the statement that nobody alive could convince you of the position that you yourself just laid out.
There is somebody
I
who
don't think
convinced
I ever
you.
said that.
Yeah, you wish there were.
You can convince yourself.
No, I said
You have that power.
I don't know of that person. Well,
I know
you
of that
what?
person. It's you.
It would be like the pill. Would you, if you had a pill, that you would get faith, deep religious faith. You wouldn't become crazy, but you would have faith. And so when terrible things happen, you would think, boy, this is horrible. Real faith, good faith. Would you take the pill?
No, I'm comfortable with where I am now.
Yeah, see, I would take the pill.
I would take the pill. Jen and I have had that conversation before. Remember that at Bowood? We were sitting there having that lunch. Yeah.
All right. We've said it all.
We've said it all.
Episode 17, 18, or 19
in the book
is coming to a close.
You don't usually see us get this deep, but I enjoyed that.
We did it.
It was kind of boring until then.
See?
I don't know. I like the conversation about the names. I think the DeJane clip could get some traction. Anyway, see ya.